time to report on the news. And I'm here to tell you it's a brand new day here in New York City. That's right. Tuesday night, Big Z for NYC. The boy did it. And I'm here to give you some live on the scene reporting. I'm actually on the streets of Brooklyn right now. And I'm here to tell you the roundups are already starting. Anyone who did not escape New York City when they had the chance, they are being arrested, detained, and sent to one of the Mamdani camps right now.
Earlier this morning, I was taken on a guided tour of all the Upper Manhattan equinoxes, which have been nationalized. All of the leg press machines are they're being taken in for cleaning. We won't know for a while until we get international observers, but we think tentatively 180,000 Jewish people killed themselves using leg press machines the night of the election in advance of what we're seeing now.
Well, Felix, I was at a DSA Watch Party in Bushwick as the results came in, and as the news as it became real, as it looked like 80% of precincts reporting, Mamdani is still up by about 7 or 8 points. There was a big cheer went throughout the room, and that cheer was immediately followed by the entrance of what Comrade Zoran is calling his morality police, and everyone who was drinking alcohol was arrested, and any woman whose head was not covered was also taken away. And also, I'm glad to say I have now converted to Islam. I am a Muslim now, and I gotta say, you know what? They wanted it more. They won. I'm Muslim now, and I'm saying this because I want to avoid paying the tax.
Yeah, it's going to be a big thing going forward. We would also be remiss to not report on the incident. Andrew Cuomo, we don't know how he did this, but he got a hold of an Israeli Air Force F-16I, Sufa, as they call it. And it does look like he was gaining altitude so he could crash into the Freedom Tower at Mach 2. We don't know why he was doing this. Presumably to send a message. We don't know what that message is. He was shot down by I don't know how. Zoran already has an Air Force. He had F-22s, and they shot him out of the sky. And unfortunately, no parachute. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a new day. It is a new city. Our famous bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches. Unfortunately, now they're just egg and cheese sandwiches. This is a new reality we're adjusting to, but so far I think it's going pretty good.
Everything is the Aki way now.
As I mentioned, going into Tuesday night, I was, like I said, cautiously pessimistic. As I think my attitude, because as I said on Monday's show, it's just like I sort of felt like I have seen this movie before. I thought Zoran had a good chance to win it, but I was like, I just had this knowing. I was like, oh, what if I go out tonight and Cuomo runs away with it? I could just have this sinking feeling. That was quickly dispelled when I saw the results come in from Staten Island that showed that Zoran was only down by 2,000 votes in Staten Island. And then lo and behold, 90 minutes after the polls closed, Cuomo conceded.
Yeah.
This was a beatdown.
Yeah, it was. I mean, so Zoran, it looks like he probably won by 7 or 8 points, which we cannot reinforce this enough. New York City registered Democrats who vote in primaries, that is it's okay, if there was a city made up of 10 million me's and the candidates were Zoran and then a woman who's 5'8" to 5'11", Anglo-Saxon, generalized Western European heritage, blonde or red hair, and very mean to the 10 million me's that live in the city. And if she lost by 8 or 9 points, because that should be her base. Just like how when Cuomo ran against Cynthia Nixon, he lost all of upstate pretty much. I think he lost every county to her, but it didn't matter because New York City Democrats loved him so much. And my experience with all this was when I saw the early vote tallies come in, and Zoran was only up by 9 points. And I follow a lot of people who are like, election watchers, and I thought, oh my God, I've fucking seen this movie before. These results are like not what they expected, but it's certainly not a death knell. But he'll have to, hope that blah blah blah. You experience your 100th. Well, this isn't a death knell, but he's got to make it up here, and you kind of your brain fills in the rest of it. But this was a blowout, like both in terms of like this being the most favorable election type possible for Cuomo, and just how early he cinched it up. I mean, the Staten Island thing is fucking insane. That is, I did not expect that at all. And there's a reason that Cuomo's family is talking about putting him down now. And by the way, like, you're not helping if you're pressuring them one way or the other. Michaela Kennedy Cuomo is a licensed healer and activist. I think she knows when to put her father down.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just like, more than anything, I just feel like a sense of relief, because like it was just Tuesday night, like looking into the future and trying to face the possibility of 4 years of Andrew Cuomo again as mayor of New York was just like so demoralizing. And I really have to thank all the volunteers and everyone who went out and voted for sparing us that, because I think honestly, like, a really underrated part of why Zoran won and why Cuomo, despite it at times having a 30-point lead when he first got into the race, is that like it really cannot be understated how in his campaign, and I'm putting that in air quotes because he really didn't run a campaign. His campaign was like to avoid interactions with the public and other candidates and the media as much as possible from his like rented midtown apartment. But like it cannot be really understated how Andrew Cuomo, both personally and his campaign, loathes New York City and the people in it. Like his tenure as governor was basically marked by him attempting to fuck over New York City at every possible opportunity. And like even Cuomo supporters, like the few that I do see who like that actually exists and are vocal online, the message that they said we're sending before election day was, we need Andrew Cuomo to like save us from the disgusting evil pigs that live in this city and are trying to destroy it by living here. And like, look at this filthy gay hellhole that is New York City. Vote for Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah, and Josh, editor Jermenton wrote about this. He very quickly got out An Art of Losing Andrew Cuomo, which I don't think I've ever clicked on anything faster. And he raised a very good point. Something that we also noticed in the postscript was Cuomo advertised himself as like, look, you may think I'm a piece of shit, judging by my favorability ratings. Like his net favorability compared to Zoran was just comical. But you clearly don't want this fucking lunatic who you hate to be mayor. So please let me rule over your shithole. It didn't work because so many people liked Zoran, and a lot of people who liked Cuomo also like Zoran.
Yes.
So pitching yourself as like, hey, I know that I'm a piece of shit, but I'm the only one who could save you. It doesn't work when most people don't think that you have to save them from anything, whether it is being a New Yorker or Zoran.
Yeah, and it was sort of the hubris, or I don't know, like the ideological bubble that these people live in, is that like the way they ran against him was like, I don't know, wait till the last 2 weeks to call him Hitler, and then just say, yeah, as you're right, like, look, I know I resigned in disgrace. I know you all hate me, but you have to vote for me because the alternative is this like horrible nightmarish scenario. And like I think even for just like regular normal Democrats, I think like when they encountered Zoran or saw his ads or just like considered him, they just thought like, oh, he looks like a nice young man. Like they probably ranked him too. Like it's just so like they really didn't know what to do with him because, well, I mean, what they tried to do with him, and like this to me is interesting. And I know New York City politics is not national politics, but like there's a lot of people who are upset about this right now that are treating it as if it is so. And I think the interesting thing here is that they tried to Corbyn him and it didn't work. And I
Well,
think you're like what you're seeing here is a lot of the like insane reactions to like a New York City mayoral primary where people are just like, yeah, like the Auschwitz is going to be opened in Central Park. Is they can't reconcile themselves with the fact that like all of their bleeding about anti-Semitism and how scared they felt, like voters didn't get it. And like
well,
when the person it was directed at, they were just like, once again, seems like a nice young liberal guy. Like seems like a nice young charismatic liberal politician.
yeah. Usually, that caveat of like New York City is not the rest of America is, this not might not play other places, but actually in this case, I mean, this is a defeat against the Israel lobby and the forces of Zionism in a place where their powers are extra strong,
Yeah.
where away
Yeah.
from the Kryptonian sun. I mean, for the longest time, like New York City, it's a hard metric to gauge because American politics are incredibly Zionist, but New York City is, you know, even more crazy in a lot of instances. And I they did try to Corbyn him, and Corbyn is one of the best people who has ever been involved in electoral politics in the West in the last 70, 80, 90, 100 years. But the man had fucking terrible instincts a lot of the time. And he would apologize thinking that would get rid of things. But the main thing that I think stopped the Corbyning of Zoran from ever taking effect was Zoran did something that we have been talking about, we've been screaming about for the longest time, that he never once condescended to voters in any way. And so when it came time for them to hear him out, when they tried to make that globalize the Antifa thing an actual story, and he said, okay, this is, hear me out on this, they chose to, because he had chosen to respect them for the duration of the campaign.
Yeah, and also like they waited too late to do this. They waited way too late. Like they did, like I mean, if because that's the thing. Like, Cuomo got in the race and did not run a campaign. He didn't even bother to try to define his opponent until it was too late. And by that point, like I think like any voter like that may have been persuaded, may have been moved by the idea that like the free buses guy is Adolf Hitler. It was too late. And it was just the laziness and hubris of the Cuomo campaign. Another stunning fact is that like his campaign fucked up the application for their matching funds from the state. They didn't even bother to like submit the application on time, but it didn't matter because they were just counting on the $30 million in super PAC money that they got. Like Mayor Bloomberg just gave him another $7 million just this weekend.
Yeah.
And like, and none of that shit mattered at all.
That's the other thing. A shitload of outside money came in for, I will remind everyone again, a primary campaign for mayor. I mean, it's de facto winning the election in New York, but still. The problem is all this money came in and was spent on making a race for a municipal position, the mayor of New York, about Israel, which, even if it was still 2012 and people just had never thought about it like they have since the 2021 March of Return and the Israeli response to it, or especially in the last 20 months, I think is not going to do you a ton of favors in, again, a municipal race. There were a lot of angles they could have taken. They could have, said he's a defund the police guy, whatever. He's woke, blah, blah, blah. But they went with he's anti-Zionist, which for most New Yorkers, I don't think that was a huge consideration for how they vote in a municipal race. It was like if I'm a billionaire, I spend $400 million on super PACs trying to elect my candidate, but all the ads are about him making flight sim toy equipment more affordable. Like, how would that resound in Ohio?
Well, yeah, and I think another thing that like they're trying to, I don't know, digest right now is that like another reason it didn't work is that like as far as Democratic voters go in New York or anywhere in this country right now, they're overwhelmingly pro-Palestinian. And by that I mean they have more sympathy for the Palestinians than they do for the Israelis at this point, and that is not going to turn around anytime soon. And I think that's why you're hearing a lot of these like really insane and hysterical reactions, like this idea that like Jews are going to flee New York City en masse. I mean, I'm just thinking of the one quote here. This is from the New York Times this morning. The headline: Mamdani's success spotlights a deepening rupture among U.S. Jews. And a woman quoted at the end of this piece, I want to quote here. It says, "I feel like last night's NYC election result is like a spiritual crystal knocked. It proved that Jew hatred is now okay," posted Jill Kargman, a Jewish writer and actress who has also shared inflammatory content about Muslims and supported Mr.
Oh, really?
Cuomo. Yeah.
A spiritual crystal knock, like you're using your key to like blast open the Jewish shops. It's so insane. I saw just a random Instagram story of someone that said, well, there you have it. I keep having to be reminded, it shouldn't really surprise me, that everyone hates Jews. I don't know. I think at this point it is a more socially acceptable version of QAnon for like a more urbane set.
Yeah. And it's like, no one cares. No one fucking cares. Or like not, or at least not enough people care anymore. And the question is, what are they going to do now? Because like, look, there still is a general election. I've seen conflicting reports. Is Cuomo going to run as an independent? I mean, I think they're going to run the numbers and see that like it would be better if he didn't even try. I've seen a lot of people trying to like basically coalesce around there. That we all need to we all need to support Eric Adams. Like Republican, Democrat, like it's just the anti-Mamdani vote all needs to like have a sort of non-aggression pact and support Eric Adams in the general election.
I mean, either option is great. I am fine with either option. I think either is hilarious. I love the idea of Andrew Cuomo, who, again, we will remind you of the rumors, is brandoning. He is experiencing the biological process of brandoning, going senile. So him campaigning basement style after COVID in a non-COVID world in like 100-degree days, and no longer running in his preferred amongst his like preferred voting base, which is New York City registered Democrats. I think it might fucking kill him. I think he might wish that he died hijacking that jet. But Eric Adams, that's also a great choice. I'm always happy to see more Eric. So dealer's choice in this situation. Bill
Ackman. He's got another really long post today. Sort of like intimating that like, you know, like he's on a group chat and they're cooking up some real fire, perhaps a write-in campaign, and then like I don't know. I think Bill should run for mayor. I think Bill needs to hop in the race.
Bill was replying to someone who is like, you know, one of the accounts that like Bill still talks to, like one of the people who's like driving him insane. And, you know, like one of those accounts is called like Badass Jew, super Israeli. And he was like, wait, you know, Bill, we need a rock star. If we're going to be able to do this, we need a rock star. And Bill said, don't worry, we have one. So I think we talked
Gary
about
Glitter, everyone.
Gary Glitter or Glenn Dubin. His endorsement wasn't enough. Because people want to vote for Glenn Dubin himself. I mean, like, who would Bill Ackman consider a rock star? The fucking Jonathan Pollard?
Bring him back.
I'm so excited to see who they pick. I mean, Bill Ackman is fucking dumb enough to follow through with a write-in campaign for mayor of New York.
I mean, just like a few other things, just like, you know, considering the campaign he ran, and something you mentioned about like his refusal to condescend to voters, and like I think a lot of the reactions I'm seeing now is like there's two avenues you can take if you are a Democrat who very much did not want to see this happen, and like the first route is the one we've already talked about, that like. New York City has elected a jihadist for mayor, and it's like people always ask. People say, "How's he going to pay for universal child care? how's he going to pay for the free buses? And well, like my answer is obvious. It's the Dimmy tax. I mean, I've converted now, so I won't be paying that. But everyone else, this is how we're going to fund the city now, through the Dimmy tax. But like, the people saying he's a jihadist, and they're like, I saw Kristen Gillibrand today who was still going back to the globalize the Intifada thing, and it's just like, honey, move on. You got to get a different angle. The other avenue here is sort of like is to sort of embrace him and say like, oh, his victory proves that he was one of us all along. He's always been an abundance guy. Like, we've always supported him. And to that end, I've seen a lot of people, a lot of like the smart Democrat electioneers pointing to his campaign videos and like how good they were, but like they all seem to be taking the tack that it's either about the the filter that he used on the video, or there's like the vibes that he had.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is a point that Josh at Intermentum made, where it's just like, like his online presence and these online videos he was doing were just basically just campaign ads that you didn't have to run on TV, and they were very successful. But they weren't like they weren't like a stupid dance that you had to fucking learn or a fucking meme. It was just his way of introducing himself to voters and saying, "Hi, my name is Zohran Mamdani. I'm running for mayor. I want a more affordable city." Like, stating his agenda, like his sort of pocketbook based, a material agenda. Put that front forward and just show who you are and what you're like, and talk, and then literally in the streets of New York, just talk to voters.
Yeah, it was a very, this whole like conversation about like, how do we appeal to young people? Blah blah blah. I will kill myself if I ever have to see that cycle again. And of course, that is the takeaway that people are grabbing from this. I saw that post about how he's running a hype house. How in less than an hour they could put out a video with an amazing looking filter. But again, I mean, if you look at all the things that he did that resounded the most, all the things that they were putting out, especially while Cuomo was just playing defense and waiting like in his bunker, like underneath the Cake Boss's store in Times Square. It was very, allowing the voter to rise to the occasion. He talked in very direct terms about what he represented, what he wanted to do. And, there was like memes and online bullshit surrounding the campaign. But crucially, Zoran let other people actually do that. He never did it. I think that's a huge differentiation to make. There is something inherently disgusting about seeing a candidate for any significant office doing a dance, or like, especially my least favorite thing, and this is the most popular thing now, Michael Bloomberg started this bullshit where it's very shallowly self-deprecating, where you're like, I'm out of touch, I'm 72, or I'm Gen X, but I don't know what this TikTok thing is, but I'm gonna do it. Vote for me. And it's so nauseating because it's the perfect Democrat thing. On its surface, it's self-deprecating, which is annoying enough. But the real subtext is like, I've spent my life doing so much serious work for you that I don't know any of this TikTok stuff. And it's like, no one's asking you to do that, asshole. No one wants to see that. But he never did it. He never did it, even though he's a third of these people's ages.
Well, speaking of canny online advertising and endorsements, I think another new reality that the Democratic Party is going to have to deal with is a world now in which the endorsement of Nick Mullen carries more weight than Bill Clinton.
Yeah. So, yeah. Or Jim Clyburn, for that matter. I can't believe that didn't fucking work. Yeah. Nick and Stav both did get out the vote things.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was out canvassing on Tuesday when it was like honestly, it felt hotter than I have ever felt in New York City ever. But yeah, Catherine and I did some canvassing on Tuesday, and you better believe the names and addresses of everyone who wasn't going to vote for Zoran. Yeah, they've been sent to the secret police.
Yeah,
they've been sent to the morality police.
And you guys saw Zoran meeting with Hassan. If all of you people who weren't voting for him, if you have big Christian sons, Don't get too attached to them. They're going to California, and they're going to get a lot of training in Hassan's house. But you're never seeing them again. We're sorry.
I mean, I guess like it's been so funny to me to just see like so many people throughout America who have never been to New York City, despise it and loathe everything about it, just being like, New York City has fallen. They just elected a jihadist socialist mayor, and it's just like, what do they think people see when they like see Zohran Mamdani? Like he's a jihadist.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of like, that type of like Republican backbencher that got elected either in like 2020 or was a erstwhile Tea Partier who latched onto Trump pretty early. Do that, and it's just like all these people from like who represent these districts in like Missouri or fucking
Dog Dick, Tennessee or something.
Yeah, Nebraska. All these districts that are like 70% like pig by volume, being like, you couldn't do CBGBs now because there would be drinking. Like, why do you give me like? Isn't like before this, New York was like a gay crime-ridden hellhole. What is being lost here to you? If it's such 9/11 flashbacks.
Yes, we have forgotten. That's another take I've seen. It's like New York forgot about 9/11.
Yeah, which like we won't get into who was dancing. but yeah, no, that is, were we forgetting 9/11 when Trump went to Saudi Arabia during his first term and they like projected his big fat face on a building and he danced with them? Apparently,
when he touched the orb.
Yeah.
The other comment I've been seeing repeated over and over again, and I do not know what to make of it, is like people stating like, and it's clear that they all know what they're talking about, but like I don't speak the language. But they just said New York will be like London now. New York will be like London or Paris, and I just don't understand. Like I mean, I think they're trying to imply that like it's a Muslim city or something, but like New York is already like London and Paris, like a major global financial and cultural capital. Well, like what are we getting at? And like and what's happened to London? Did I miss something over the last couple of years?
Well, yeah, in the conservative like mind space, London is like it's completely Muslim run now. And this isn't really like a new thing. The Eurabia thing was like that was pretty big amongst both like conservatives and sort of like edgy liberals in the Bush and Obama blog spheres. But some survey or something that was like Muhammad is a really popular name in the UK now, and London is like, I guess, the epicenter of that. I don't know. Like London fucking sucks, but
Well, yeah, I mean that's what I was worried about. I don't want New York to be like London.
That's not the reason why it sucks. I mean, like a caliphate might actually like breathe some new life into it. Manchester is lovely.
Oh, we love
caliphate
Manchester
or not.
Yeah, but like honestly, like Sharia law, like I don't see what's so bad about it. And like to be clear now, like we are now under Sharia law in New York City, and I got news for you. If you're not from here, it's fine. It's good.
Sharia law is relaxing. That's the new campaign that they're paying me to do.
And then I guess like the final the final bit of flailing that I basically enjoyed is I saw like the New York Young Republicans are demanding that Donald Trump deport Zoran.
Yeah, I mean, which again, for a president that is like flagging in popularity, that would really do what? I don't know. Like Zoran is probably one of the most popular like politicians in the country now, or will be. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't really know what to make of the New York Young Republicans thing, because it seems like it's all people who like emigrated here like 8 years ago and are really Catholic, and it's like, wouldn't we deport you too?
We'll see. We'll get. I have a hotline to the mayor. We'll see if we can get on that.
Yeah, just I don't know. There's so many people who are like, I guess it's a classic thing where it's like, I was naturalized in 2019. This guy Zoran isn't even a citizen. And it's like, it sounds like you aren't either.
Oh wait,
According to you.
I did. Wait. One reaction that I really did like was from that like, what's her name? Inez stepmom. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Inez stepmom.
Yeah. She's the head of the washing machine institute. For all the stepmoms that get caught there.
No,
it's a big conservative think tank.
She had a post where she was like, Zoran doesn't really represent anywhere, and like she was basically like her critique of Zoran is that he is a rootless cosmopolitan. So like they have like reverse engineered anti-Semitism to be anti-Semitic against a young Muslim guy because he like was born in Uganda and merely lived in New York City from like for most of his life.
Yeah, that is he's from. There's no one in New York who is a South Asian Muslim. No one. He's from nowhere.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, probably like Bear's watching. I'll probably have more to say about this. The finally something good happening. Finally get a dub in the get a win in the column here.
Yeah, I'll be honest. During when the early votes came in, I really did think like, oh my god, we're gonna have to do another something bad happened episode.
But hey, sometimes something good happens, and it's just a reason to keep waking up every morning. But no, seriously, congratulations to Zoran, his campaign, and all of you out there who fucking volunteered for him. 50,000 volunteers in New York City.
That's amazing. That's amazing, and I think it augurs pretty, cautiously well for his tenure that he actually has an organizational machine behind him. And also, my final thought, I will just say, it was a very new and very good feeling to poll for a candidate that didn't repeatedly run dick first into a wheat thresher. To finally be polling for someone who had great instincts, but also an amazing campaign behind him. And I just want to echo Willem, thanking everyone who was involved.
Yeah, this was your victory. And even if this is like the best thing that happens, like just this moment, and like the rest is just, and I'm not saying this will happen, but like just for the sake of argument, let's say that like whatever comes next is just a string of disappointments or of what we've come to be used to. How fucking mad and disgusted this has made the worst people in New York City and America is victory enough for me. And also just like the proof positive of a model where like you can't, like, if you just scream anti-Semitism at someone who doesn't support Israel, not going to work anymore. Not going to work anymore. Everybody under the age of 60 in this country despises Israel, and that's not changing.
Yeah.
And you can't run a campaign on that anymore. Sorry. Try again.
You cannot do that now to a populace that has been inundated with some of the worst videos and images anyone has ever seen. You cannot keep doing that. Not slowly, but very steadily. That is becoming meaningless to label somebody with that.
Yeah. Don't care. Check the scoreboard.